When we look at the stratification of wildlife and animals, there's everything from large to small, and it's all got to be there. Cattle are doing a job here that probably nothing else could do. They're fulfilling a niche in the ecosystem here. So cattle do graze differently to sheep. The heavier weight of the cattle created disturbance. They'll push seeds in, help them germinate. The differences that have happened over the last 15 years wouldn't have happened without cattle. You can see the change if you walk into areas where there's a lot of young trees growing now. There's a lot more food for certain birds now that wasn't there in the past. You hear different birds. There's a chap that comes and he said that he now hears green woodpeckers that he'd never heard before. The conversations you have, how other people see that there's a benefit to the way the valley's being farmed now, and that in a way gives me as much pleasure as actually doing it.
In Ennerdale, there's a positive driving force to create a diverse range of habitats, and it's just fantastic for the biodiversity. If you've got a nice balance between woodland and grazing, that's the ideal condition for a lot of species, and those conditions make for a resilient population, especially at a high altitude, and thinking of climate change as being a factor in the future. In a lot of places, numbers of birds are going down, but here, a lot more birds, but also a big abundance increase as well. It's a fantastic place to come birding. I'm lucky to live so close.
People just don't appreciate how amazing the river environment is. With the river, you've got to look at the catchment scale. Water will run off that land into the river, and so if the land is not kept in a healthy state, it would have a detrimental effect on the habitats. We have some very unique and special species, including the freshwater mussel, as it's really the last stronghold in England. There are also keynote species. If they're there, it must be in the habitat good enough to support them, which means you're going to find a lot of other species as well. We've also got the Atlantic salmon and the Arctic char. In fact, you'd be very surprised if you went in there and have a look in the river what you'll actually find.
We have to be honest and say that our landscapes are an ecological shadow of what they could be, and if we want to see nature recovery, we've got to be happy to kickstart some of those natural processes. What I find really uplifting is that we're seeing nature recovery in Ennerdale. We're seeing richer habitats, more colourful, more complex, more diverse. We're seeing nature responding to the management we're putting in place, and that's a fantastic thing to be involved with.
We should work with nature more and think about what we're doing more.